Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Culture Playground Masterclass. I am super excited for our new time. We are now at 4 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday, and I am always excited to welcome Shiva to the call. And we're going to pivot a little bit today. We're going to dive into a little bit of a deeper conversation. Not that we don't, go deep fast with all of these conversations, but I want to dive in a little bit more today. So happy Thursday, happy Friday, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, so much is going on right now. Whether you study astrology, whether you watch the news, whether you are just a human on the planet, there's a lot. Shiva, you were just talking about all of the greenery around you and even the quantity of pollen.
Hello, allergy season. That's why we love spring, right?
Right? I mean, I'm in Vegas right now, and the spring temperature is fantastic, but the wind here in the spring, it's not my friend. It is not like I don't normally have allergies until I'm being blasted in the face with dirt, and then I think anyone gets allergies at that point. So my point being is that today we're kind of talking about who we naturally show up as and kind of our own identity and how do we identify and what roles do we play and what's our superpower and what makes us tick and all of those things. And in the face of the planet and things going on, I think we need to talk about our nervous systems too. There is so much that is like the superpower of being a human, in my opinion, that makes us so different than robots. I mean, there's so much going on in the world, the technology wise, right? What makes us different? Well, it's our consciousness. It's our head, heart, and gut brains. It's our ability to sense something before it's actually happening or not happening, right? And it's a superpower. So when we look at our nervous systems that are on fire, and Shiva, I want to chat a little bit about maybe some of the stories that you're hearing, maybe even some of the things that you're experiencing or that your kids are experiencing. You're in a similar, eve of empty nester stage that I am. And so I'm trying to lightly ease myself into it by talking about it loosely and with some comedy so that I don't break down and have a full-blown mama panic attack around it, because it's coming, it's happening, it's here within the next couple months. Like, my kid's going to be living on his own and I'm going to help him set up his first apartment, things, right? And so my nervous system is on fire with all of these changes and these transitions going on in my life. And I know that you've got some experiences as well, and I'm sure you're hearing them around school. And so it doesn't matter whether you're in a school building or whether you're just a human on this planet, we've all got nervous system fire going on. Do you want to share what that's like for you right now, aside from allergies kind of blowing around you in the beautiful green weather you're in right now?
I know. I had to close the window here. I mean, so yeah, but just speaking to the nervous system and all of the things that are going on. I mean, so again, I'm in my car because my son is at rehearsal, and I think because this is my youngest. And I'm the mother of 3 children, proud mother of 3 amazing children. And really, for the last 15 to, 18 years, that's been my life, right? Outside of being an educator is being a mom. And that's so much of my identity and who I am. And so just like you were saying about going into the full mama bear panic mode. So I moved from Las Vegas last summer because my oldest son was going to school in the DC area. And now my youngest son will also be going to school in the DC area. So I don't know if I'm having that full on attack panic mode about my youngest leaving the house. I think what most worries me is when that part of my identity is taken away.
Mm.
There's not going to be rehearsals to go to. There's, not anyone that I need to pick up after I get off of work. And it's okay now because I'm not there yet.
Right.
But because I'm so used to that type of energy and that momentum, I really do have to start thinking about, what am I going to do when I get there? And then it's just me
Right.
that I have to worry about after work.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lydia's chiming into the comment saying it is a big paradigm shift, right? And
Yes.
it's a paradigm shift of our identity. And we get programmed throughout life of where we perceive that we give value to the world. And if we perceive that we give value as mom or as educator, and then the thought of, or the reality of those things no longer existing is like, oh shit, now what? Right? I mean, just call it like it is. When we get to these spaces, it really serves us to navigate through with curiosity, because we are unique, amazing humans without the roles that we play. Yet our programming has our nervous systems feeling very differently. Right? I mean, my programming as a mama, I went through 2.5 years of infertility and 3 miscarriages before my son was even born. And then he was born on my birthday. So to say I'm kind of attached to my role as mama is maybe an understatement. It's like one thing I'm like super proud of. My role as auntie, I'm super proud of. My role as entrepreneur, I'm proud of. My role as friend, as sister, as daughter, like I have all these roles that I wear, right? And we all have all of them. And not one of them defines us. It's about really looking at who we are at our core and how we're naturally wired and who we naturally show up as. That doesn't take effort, that just feels like, yep, this is who I get to show up as all the time, because this is my natural flow. This is my natural rhythm. But we don't get to that point where we start getting curious with that until we start kind of feeling on overload sometimes with the nervous system, like wait, what is happening to me? So what psychometrics have you, psychometric assessments have you taken in life, Shiva?
So I've definitely taken the talent dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the one that like it's the one that they use for, it's a pretty popular one. Is it the Briggs Myers?
Myers-Briggs, yep. It's fine. No.
I had the 2 people in there. I just mixed them up.
We can make up our own name. It's fine. People will catch on. They'll catch up to us.
Right. Well, so yeah, so I've taken that Myers-Briggs assessment, and I've maybe taken, smaller assessments in my roles in, in my church and other things, but I don't think they were anything that was geared more to, who I am and how I operate. Those smaller ones were more about my roles and whatever, I was doing for that specific organization.
Yeah, and so many of them serve such a beautiful purpose, right? I haven't found one that, unless someone is using it maliciously, that doesn't work, that isn't good information for you to process and go, okay, what works for me with this and what doesn't. I've done Myers-Briggs, I've done human design, I've done so many that are super powerful and just give me more information and more wisdom for my self-awareness, which then allows me to get curious about what I need and what works and what doesn't work for me. So then I can self-advocate. And with that self-advocacy comes the learning how to self-regulate and make sure that I'm choosing things that are in alignment with who I naturally am versus choosing things that are maybe pre-programmed where I think I should receive value, right? And so within Talent Dynamics, which is a psychometric assessment that I use in my partnership with the Genius Group and for all the schools that I coach, the reason I like it is because it kind of covers all of the different facets of being human, whether it's communication, whether it's, wealth creation, whether it's just kind of following what makes you tick. And we've got a special guest coming on in a couple of weeks that's going to talk to us about using it on how you read best. And so there's so many different layers to Talent Dynamics. But understanding that it's at the core is that we are part of nature, and everything in nature grows and flows, and nothing is rushed. And when we can actually get into our own natural rhythm and recognize what that is, it really helps us to self-advocate towards or when we're in those other scenarios where our nervous system is on fire, right? Whether that's inside the classroom with a certain experience that's happening regardless of who else is in the room, or whether that's, you're by yourself and you're trying to accomplish lesson planning and it's just not working, and you're feeling all the tension and frustration is just not working. Well, how are you advocating for what you need in order to then regulate your own nervous system to get back to that place where you can be in rhythm and in flow? And the quick trick that I mentioned to all of you who are watching that get my emails is really leading with the question that serves your dominant frequency. Mm-hmm. So within our own superpowers, we all have a dominant frequency. And the frequencies are connected to the seasons. They're connected to just how everything grows and flows. So the dynamo frequency is that big picture, head in the clouds, great at starting things. The tempo frequency is more ear to the ground, deep-rooted customer service, kind of slow and steady, dot I's, cross T's, really good at timing. And you have the blaze frequency, which is super extroverted, really good at all the people smarts, right? They're really good at connecting people. And then you have the steel dominant frequency, which is more introverted in nature. They thrive with systems and data and research. And so, and we all have a unique percentage of all four frequencies. And then in the center of everything is the spirit frequency, which is why. We all have an inner 2-year-old. We all need to know why. So that's a place to get curious with yourself all the time, is to say, why am I feeling this, right? And then if you are a dynamo dominant frequency, then it's to say, what is coming up for me? Lead with a what question. If you're more of a tempo, really good at timing, deep-rooted customer service type of person, then you're going to ask a when and a where question. When can I give myself time to feel this fully? Where have I felt this before, right? If you are a blaze dominant frequency brain, then you're going to ask who questions. Who can I go to for help? Who has gotten through something like this before? Steel dominant frequency, you're going to ask more of a how question. If you are more of an analytical brain, then how can I get through this? How can I accomplish this? And so often we end up asking ourselves questions that are out of our dominant frequency, just out of habit, for the way that we were, quote unquote, programmed when we first started learning. And so when we get into these areas where we can really connect with our own internal superpower, the way our brains are naturally wired, then we can begin to lead with curiosity intentionally. And if you're trying to connect and communicate with someone else, listen to the way that they ask questions, because you'll usually start with one of those question starters. And if someone is constantly asking what questions, they're probably a dynamo dominant frequency. If they're asking more timing questions, they're probably tempo. If they're asking more who questions, they're probably blaze. If they're asking more how questions, they're probably steel. So navigating through all of that and really understanding that our intuitive guidance system that is giving us information all the time is really our God-given superpower as a human, no matter what. And how often are we taught to use that in schools? When we think about our boys, right? And we have boys who are about the same age. And we think about the way that they've been taught in the traditional world of school. Is there anything about it that tells them to listen to their intuition?
For my boys, absolutely not. But I think that, and not necessarily a superpower, but one of the powers that I've had as a mother is to really instill that in them, so that when they're out there navigating traditional education, I don't think they've struggled like so many other kids that I've taught.
And that's so powerful, right? And we think about this conscious educator movement that we're starting is for educators like you to be able to inspire and influence your colleagues and parents of the students that you serve, as well as the students, to be able to own that gift, to go, no, you get to trust this pull that you have to go or do something that may not make logical sense, but it's where your heart is calling you or where your gut is calling you. Speaking of the three brains, right?
Right. Well, absolutely. I mean, and just as an example, I had a parent teacher conference this morning. Beautiful parents who woke up early and their kid up early to conference with me. Did the student have a terrible grade? It wasn't a terrible grade, but we all knew that he could have done better. And the parents asked what so many parents ask, well, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And I said, Mom and Dad, what you guys can do is put the onus of responsibility on your child. And it's hard to let go because we've been trained like, this is what parents do. When things happen, we rush in there and we save and we do that. And I said, but it's high school now. And trust me as his teacher, that I'm on your team and we're going to provide the tools and your kiddo is going to navigate this on his own, but with support. And I think that's, you're right. You're talking about a conscious educator, but doing more of that instead of saying, well, parents don't want to help. Parents don't want to do this. Well, why don't we teach each other? We're all a team to really trust ourselves.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And it feels so obvious, right? If we trust ourselves and we trust those that we're working with or we're collaborating with, then we can get farther faster. And in this state of the world and in the state of education, when our nervous systems are on fire, when we flipped our lid, right, and we're not, at our highest and best, it's not necessarily easy to do. And yet at the same time, we must do it, right? We must connect with those around us from a place of trust, from a place of showing up as our best self, or owning the days when we're not, and being able to say, I apologize, it's not my best day, right? And I'm doing the best I can with where I'm at right now. And when we all give each other some grace for that and give ourselves that grace to say, you know what, I'm going to trust that for some reason my body is telling me I need to rest. Or I'm going to trust that for some reason my body is telling me, well, this doesn't feel good, I don't want to do this anymore. We were just talking about that with educator dynamics, right? And I was getting ready to launch a whole Culture 101 micro school online learning curriculum this semester. And I hit a wall at the beginning of April. And I was like, guys, this doesn't feel good. I think the curriculum's good. And, I'm getting great feedback on that. I don't think this is the right time. It doesn't feel good to launch this program right now. So we pulled it. It's sitting on the shelf, waiting for when the timing is right. And it is way more important right now for those of us in the world of education, those of us passionate about education, those of us who know that being a lifelong learner gives us advantages in life way beyond what we can quantify. And when we can really focus on how we inspire and influence others, that's the magic. That's the ripple of impact. And when we can do it from a conscious place, when we can own our natural brilliance and follow what resonates with us, That's when we create the movement and the new world of education that actually serves all students. Because there is no one size fits all for teachers or students. And yet it's not just about school in a building either. It's about lifelong learning, and how are we teaching the skills that go beyond 2+2, right? Those are important as well, but those are more facilitating learning and having the children advocate for themselves and learn themselves and know themselves and gain their own level of self-awareness. But we don't do that without mistakes. We don't do that without bumping I bumped my head up against way more, and I'm sure I have lots more in this life to bump my head up against. Yep. Welcome to the party of life. Right? I don't know if it's a party per se, but and so I think today really what I wanted to focus on is that we're perfect right where we're at. All of us, each of us. This is hard right now. It's not easy to be a human on this planet right now with all of the things coming at us all the time, allergies included. It's like, oh, that too. And yet we get to be in this together. We get to create community to say, hey, you know what? I'm actually having a pretty good day. So I'm going to go and share that with someone, because maybe that's the smile they needed today. And if you're having a rough day, decide what you need, because you may need to just give yourself permission to have a rough day. You may not need to fix anything. You may not need to reach out for help. You may need just a day, go, you know what? I'm just going to, yep, today is just going to be this, and I'm just going to feel what I feel, and I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to wake up, and tomorrow's going to be a new day, and I'll try again tomorrow. And that's okay too. If you need extra support, if you are really in a place where it's not okay, we're here for you. Reach out. This community is here for you. There's so many people that love and adore you, and we get to do this together. There's a reason why this massive transformation, this massive revolution of education is happening. There's a reason why it is happening globally. Is because we as humans get to come together. We get to create community. We get to lean on each other. We get to know that we're not alone. And we get to understand that we all are geniuses. We're all brilliant. We get to stop judging ourselves for being a fish and not being able to climb a tree. I totally butchered that saying. Einstein, I apologize, Einstein. Right? We get to be in this together. Because how many times, Shiva, in your life, and let's kind of wrap up with this, with a story. How many times in your life have you felt like there's no one, and then all of a sudden there's someone, and it's made all the difference in the world?
Oh, I can't even count. And that's, I don't want to say I'm a drama queen, but I have a tendency to lean towards the dramatics.
I love the ownership. I love the ownership, Shiva. Awesome.
I mean, especially when I'm stressed out, I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody loves me. And time and again, when I just stop and when I just think, if I, were to text 5 people, I know that I'd get a response from all 5 of those people saying, whatever it is that you need from me, how can I help? All of that. So it's like, I think that it's easy to feel isolated, especially when, our worlds are kind of frenetic and everything's crazy. But like you said, we're in this together. And I think that we also have to be willing to hold space for people. And, and I was just telling my son this today, that especially with our own students, right? Or our own kids, because we were talking about kids. Sometimes kids don't want to be coached. They don't want to be scolded. They don't want to be corrected. Sometimes they just want to be listened to. And I think that if we remember that we have the power to do that for others too, we'll find when we need it, it shows up right at the right moment.
Yeah. And being able to lean in with that curiosity and say, who do you need me to be?
Right.
Or how can I show up for you?
Yeah.
Or what will serve you best? Or when do you need me? Do you need me now or in 5 minutes or 5 hours? And I am so grateful. A dear friend of mine, those of you that follow me personally on social media, is battling cancer, and I am grateful that, you know, she is coming over tonight. I'm super excited to see her, and that she reached out. I made the offer of, I'm here. You just let me know. I don't want to push. I don't want to nudge, but I'm here, and I'll nudge a little bit just to remind you I'm here. But the fact that she did reach out and she said, I need to do something random, and I know that you can help me with that, because I need to not think about chemo. I said, you came to the right place. I can come up with random. So tonight we are potting succulents, we are playing Clue, and we are ordering healthy food for dinner. Want to come over, Shiva?
I'll be there in a day and a half.
Got it. Got it. So no matter what, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Know that you're amazing. You are a unique, amazing genius. And we all have a superpower. We all have a part to play in this world that only we can fill as individuals. And we get to do it together. So I love you all. I'm grateful for all of you for being here. Can't wait till next week. We will see you again. Again, remember the time shift to 4 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. And I look forward to seeing you all then. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, Sheba. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.